My name is Yahya Al Ghabshi. I'm representing Abraj Training Center Infotech. So what do you mean by the energy crossroad? The oil and gas still will be remain very crucial in our life. However, the workforce has to be evolved. I want you to really remember these two sentences. This is very crucial, especially for the young generation here. Okay. So according to the study done by McKinsey, 60% of the oil and gas jobs will require new skills by 2030. Today we are in 2025. 2030 is only 5 years down the line. It means that there is a lot of pressure on us as a new generations, us as workers in the oil and gas to acquire new skills. Why? Because 60% of the oil jobs will require a new skills according to McKinsey. There is another International Renewable Energy Agency. They also made a statement that the renewables will create 30 million jobs by 2030. Renewable energy will create around 30 million jobs in 2030. And 2030 is again 5 years only down the line. So you can imagine what's happening around us. It's not only the oil and gas, but there is a lot of the energy sector itself is becoming very wider. Opportunities are also increased, but that's put a lot of pressure on us to work on developing and making our workforce ready for the future. This is a very quick, infographic. It tells about one type of, alternative energy, which is the wind energy. How does it start and how it ends? It starts by only the basic use for the winds, but it ends that, for example, I'll just quote in 2020, 42% of the electricity powered in UK, for example, it's done by the renewable energy, solar, winds, and the bioenergy. The same thing in 2012, around 43% of the renewable energy or the electricity in the US, it's already done by the renewable energy. Again, we're talking about solar, wind, and bioenergy. Anyone of you knows that if there is any application of renewable energy in Oman? If there is any solar application, if there is any wind applications, any companies? Wind turbines. Dhafar. Okay. Anybody else? Solar. Okay. So, okay. I'll just share with you two main. There is an every two solar power plant, and this is a 500 megawatt project, and it is launched since 2021. This power plant is covering 50,000 homes. Okay, so you can imagine what's happening around us in terms of the renewable energies. And in addition to that, by doing so, we are cutting down around 340,000 tons of CO2. Anyone knows what is the Oman target for CO2? Net zero. What is our target? To when? Which year? 2050. So our target as a government by 2050, we should achieve a net zero. Those all, projects are helping the government in producing clean energy and at the same time achieving the company or the government target. As our colleagues also mentioned about the wind, so there is in Dhofar also, there is a wind project featuring 13 wind turbines. Very small, but this is producing around, it is a 50 megawatt project and managed to cover 16,000 homes. So we have in Oman already changes and renewable energies are happening. I remember I'll share with you one small story. And while I was in university at that time, with a team, we've done a project. This project is having or designing water desalination plant utilizing the solar power. Now, 30 years since that time, I have not seen any solar desalination plant in Oman. Maybe my My son will see it one day. Like this is a very nice stories and all these applications and what is done by the government. And why is that? Because the solar at that time, 20, 30 years, the cost, it was not a very cost effective to be applied. But right now there is a lot of innovation and make it very cost effective here in Oman. Okay. We're talking about I want you again to remember the two things of McKinsey statement and the other arena statement about creation jobs by 2030. And here we're talking about the emerging technologies. There's two, I divide it here in two things, okay? What happens with the technologies? When it comes to the renewable, when it comes to the storage, when it comes to the digital. So in the renewables, in the solar, as I said, it was not a very cost effective to be applied. But with new inventions, it makes it a very cost effective. So there's a new thing called perovskite cells, which is a family of materials that have shown potential of high performance, low production cost in solars. So high performance and low production cost. This is the key in order to compete with the oil and gas industry and energy. In the wind, we mentioned about the wind turbines, but also there is a new wind turbines, which is called the floating turbines. This is can be done in the offshores. So it's an offshore wind turbines mounted in a floating structure that allows turbines to generate electricity in water depth. So the technology is evolving. And as these technologies are evolving, it means us as engineers, we need to evolve too by capitalizing and also capturing new competencies in order so that we can, get these job opportunities. We can work in this with new technologies. We cannot continue having the same competency and we're expecting to get new jobs. We need to acquire new competency as we go. Also, there's something called enhanced geothermal systems, which is a man-made reservoir. Again, only to generate power. There is a technology change when it comes to the storage. One of the challenges, for example, solar energy was facing is we have sun at day, but we don't have sun at night. Can we store the energy or not? So that's why there is now the technology and the advanced technology when it comes to the storage the energy. That's really make it very competitive and cost effective to be used. So storing the hydrogen, and also there is advanced batteries. Again, in the digital field, the AI, the application of AI for predictive maintenance. I will share here one example in Abraj. We have something called mud pumps. So our maintenance team, we were thinking and trying to look for tools that they can install within the mud pumps. Okay, we have pistons, and this AI tool will be able to send the kind of messages to our maintenance teams when it's about the erosions, what is the time that needed for this piston to be replaced, so that we can be more effective in our maintenance, and also we are increasing the lifetime of our piston lives. Those things, in the past it was idea, but nowadays there's a very high possibility to have it. And most of you know about the blockchain for energy trading. So there is a lot of changes. Technology are driving all these changes in 3 areas. The skills and the demands. Okay. So the future skills, if we remember our initial topic, we talked about now energy. It's no more only oil and gas or solar or wind. So we're covering energy sector. So hyper skilled for energy future. Okay. In order to keep my job for the future, I need to have now hyper skills. Okay, because technology can be done within the same company. So you are in one company. Today you're only focusing on oil and gas, but your company will be utilizing different technology that require you to be having a hyper skill set in order to understand all these applications. The hyper skill set for the energy future also is divided into technical, digitals, and the soft skills. For technical, the traditional, for example, names, هنسميهم reservoir engineers, LNG logistic. But in the emerging technologies, it's called carbon capture, utilization of storage, hydrogen system, smart grid management. All these jobs we were not able to talk about it maybe a decade ago, but these jobs are happening. These technologies are already not a futuristic something, it's already happening. It's mean these jobs are already there. In the digital side, the data analytical, the AI, the machine learning, the Internet of Things integration, all of these applications really helping and advancing the technology and require that us as engineers, we need to really educate ourselves about what's happening with regards to the technology around us. In the soft side of all of these advancement of technologies, adaptability and the cross-disciplinary collaborations. So it means us need to be also adaptable. Okay, cannot be rigid. Today I'm working is here, but because of my company is acquiring new technology, I need to be a little bit flexible and adaptable to the technologies and accepting these changes. The skill gap challenges, companies struggle to find talent ready for hybrid energy. Well, in fact, companies are struggling to find talent for its own and one technology. Even in the oil and gas, as companies, we struggle to find sometimes, very special talent. So let alone if we're talking about a wider energy, not only the oil and gas. So that means we require, to search for a hybrid employees with a mix of competency. It will not be very easy jobs. That's put a lot of pressure on HR specialists, on the training departments, on the leadership within the organizations, understanding of what's happening, that how to prepare our employee for all of these futures opportunities. So according to the studies, okay, there is the hybrid skill set for energy future. There is top 5 missing skills. Top 5 only missing skills, but these are the top 5. The digital part and the AI literacy. So that's put a lot of pressure on us as an engineers to educate ourselves when it comes to the AI application. The cross-disciplinary energy technology, as I mentioned earlier, geothermal and petroleum, the ESG compliance and reporting, the modular and the agile project management, leadership for hybrid teams. If we just leave the technical side or the technical competency, the top 4, and focus on the last one. That's put a lot of pressure on CEOs, directors, managers from a leader perspective, how to manage a hybrid team. You used to manage only a petroleum engineer, now no. You have a petroleum engineer, you have a geothermal engineer. That's what requires a new skill set, leadership skill to manage this mixed. This is the end of my presentation, but just to cover one part. Earlier, I represent a branch training center, which is Infotech. So in Infotech, we are providing technical services, training services for a branch and for our clients. Our main focus is in the HSC, on the technical side, engineering, and also on the maintenance side. However, also us as a company and also as a training center, understanding of what's happening around us, how the energy really is moving around. The first picture is our chairman and our CEO, and we signed an MOU of understanding with the big companies called Sonatrach. The second photo is our CEO signing with Algerian Petroleum Institute. And that's the message is that we have already established an international collaboration with the training centers, whereby we have visited them. We have seen their readiness of providing the training for the hydrogen, for the solar, for the wind, and they have a list of courses. Okay, so that's why we signed this agreement with them in order to any one of our clients is having any interest or to understand training requirement or training needs or training for the alternative energy. We are in a position to provide these services via our collaboration with API. Okay, and this is happening in February 2025, only recently. In Abraj also, since we have just spoken about the solar and winds, there was a lot of, but our services is focusing on drilling, wood services, and all of that. But utilizing, ready-made, for example, applications. When I talk about the solars, have already started in our rigs. So using solar, lights depending on solar. We have water heaters depending on solar energy. These are ready-made applications. And, trying also to help our client to meet the main target, which is the decarbonization of net zero, as we discussed earlier. Okay. I have this QR code. If anybody is interested for our services, can scan it and then get all the services we are providing. And if there is any question, I'll be in a position to answer your question. Thank you for attention.